Welcome back to me reading my book for people who don't like to read. In honor of the World Cup and being that I was at SoFi Stadium yesterday, the chapter I'm reading is Every Seat Has a Story. In addition to my still relentless pursuit of work and a full-time career as a performer, at the age of 51, I work part-time at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, home to the NFL Rams and Chargers teams, as well as several major artist concerts every year. And if we are really lucky, Monster Jam will grace us with its very loud presence every spring, usually in May. If you have never seen Monster Jam, I highly recommend it. You don't need a kid as an excuse to revel in this outrageously colorful chaos. My main duty at SoFi Stadium is in the mobility department, which means I assist guests who are physically unable to make it from the gate entries to their seat without the help of a wheelchair. Some guests have serious, temporary, or permanent physical ailments. Others have just eaten too many Cheetos in their lifetime and are completely winded by the time they finish the long walk from the vast, overly expensive parking lot to the stadium perimeter. Especially if they are the type that arrive 3 hours early for the highly recommended, by me, parking lot tailgating experience. Their legs, just like their liver and digestive system, have gone into a temporary shock paralysis. It is not my place to judge their reason for requesting my service. I am just happy to provide it. And the occasional tips I receive are very nice as well. At one of the recent Rams games, I gave approximately 7 rides. I call them rides probably because I am most often pushing my guests with the gusto of a kid on a swing, just realizing how high the power of their own legs can get them. I am by nature a fast walker, but the excitement and energy of SoFi Stadium gets my legs moving like a hoverboard floating above the pavement. A contributing factor may also, at times, have something to do with my guest seat location. The closer they are to the field, the more elated and somewhat jealous I get about the experience they are about to have and want to arrive to their seat as fast as possible. I almost always ask if people have been to the stadium before, and if they say no, my enthusiasm grows even stronger with anticipation for their next hours ahead. I often seem to be more excited than they are, which in turn can confuse some people. They probably don't take into account that I drive a good distance and work minimum wage to be in this illustrious and iconic sports atmosphere. 2 years ago, when I first landed this dream part-time job, last 3 years now since I read, I attended a 6-hour training session. The point that kept driving home was that SoFi Stadium's motto was, "Every seat has a story." I quickly got the point they were driving home about customer service, but never foresaw it actually involving me so personally. I have been working in a hospitality type environment for most of my life. Years of waitressing, bartending. Small talk is part of the job. What I did not expect when starting this position at SoFi was the often very personal and intimate connections. I never expected guests to be hugging me and telling me they loved me. Maybe it's the alcohol they consumed? No, it's me. Another contributing factor may well be the vulnerability that comes with feeling disabled. There's a distinct attitude that showcases itself as soon as a person plants themselves in my chair. For some people, it's a bit of a shameful and uncomfortable head hanging, a slight look of discomfort for their lack of either physical or emotional strength, while others open up in seconds about their life story like I'm their newly appointed therapist. Just the past 2 months alone, I have had in my chair a woman who gave me a bracelet to wear with her 2 deceased teenagers' names on them who had lost their lives to a drunk driver in 2016. How this woman was able to smile at me was beyond my emotional comprehension. I also had a couple who was going on the field for a very special Veterans Day tribute. They had not served in the war, but were there representing their fallen son who had died in Afghanistan. An older, seemingly bitter woman who has a season ticket and comes to every Charger game, usually by herself. I don't know her story. She is usually too busy barking orders at me of whatever elevator to take and which way to turn, which explains why she is most often coming to these games alone. I appease her by always pretending I'm brand new to the job, but as they taught me in training, her overly dedicated Charger fan 70-year-old single lady seat may have a story of pain that my mostly privileged life does not know the first thing about. So I take her overbearing direction with a smile and appreciate the fact that pushing her to the expensive VIP seat means I get an extra, very appreciated glimpse at the field and players close up, which is exactly where I love to be. Splitting my time and attention between watching the game and watching the abundance of stimulated, exhilarated people. On a few occasions, I have been blessed with the not slightly but very overweight guest whose knees just couldn't make the long walk and made me question whether my hamstrings were going to. As I pushed them up the long and slightly uphill disability ramp, at one point feeling like my heart may end up becoming just as weak as theirs. Is this mean? Does that mean? Am I too old for this shit? Never. Also, how ironic if I were to drop dead doing physical exercise for a job helping people who cannot do physical exercise. The jokes I have to fake laugh at every time I pass by a drunk person who rushes toward my chair and boisterously exclaims, "I'll take a ride to my seat." At least 6 of those every single game. I just laugh, ha 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 ha, that's so funny. I appease them by laughing back as if it is the first time I've heard it, since it is most likely the first time they have said it, since I'm guessing, based on my own life experience, there aren't many social events you attend where a free wheelchair service is offered. And they just look so happy with themselves for the funny they just made to the wheelchair lady. One guy I put in my chair just because of his group of young, fun-loving buzz bros wanted to get down a little lower to the field, and I do have all access with my badge. I'm not supposed to do that. I only did it once. Don't tell my supervisor. It could be grounds for dismissal. In my defense, it is, after all, in my job description to be the gracious wingman to their game day experience. And even though he is young and may not have a dramatic seat story yet, now there is a good chance he will in the future, and maybe he will look back on that SoFi bottom-level sneak down as a highlight of his life. It is important to live in the present, but also anticipate the future. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Go buy my book. It's on Amazon. And don't tell my supervisor about that incident.